If you enjoy listening to inspirational stories from people just like us, facing the fear and doing it anyway, then you're in the right place. My name is Claire Hill, and this is the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Hello, welcome to another episode of the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. And today, it's Claire Hill, by the way. I'm sure you know that. Anyway, today I am talking about my Warrior Boss framework. Now, I'm going to excuse myself because I've had this cold, and it's just at the end of the day, while I'm recording this, it's starting to surface again. So my voice isn't feeling as great as it normally would. Not that your voice feels great, but you know what I mean. So I'm going to have to just bear with. But I'm being very disciplined today, and I'm getting this stuff done. So this is in my diary. I'm getting it done. Today, I want to talk to you about the Warrior Boss framework, which is the framework that I use for all of my business support through the Vivid Club. So the Vivid Club membership, but also my one-to-one support and my Project Warrior Boss group program. And I feel extremely passionate about the Warrior Boss framework. And for me, it feels like it's a little bit of it's like a jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces fit together really well. And to transform from a warrior to a warrior, you don't necessarily have to do all of it. You don't necessarily have to master it all, but you do have to have some kind of, again, I suppose that's up for negotiation, but that idea that you can transform from a warrior to a warrior with some kind of knowledge about the different elements. And the way I came up with the Warrior Boss framework was just really looking at what makes me feel good in business. Now, there is going to be people listening to this that think, well, you do miss this bit, you do miss that bit. Well, yeah, of course I do. It's not perfect. Nothing is. I'm glad it's not perfect as well. But it is something that I feel is something that my clients and my members can really take hold of, and they feel like it's a little bit of a roadmap. Now, I'll be honest, that roadmap needs work on, and done is better than perfect. So the way that my training and my teaching comes across, especially in the membership, there are gaps at the minute because I do want to create this roadmap. But you have to remember that not everybody is ready to learn everything at the same time. And also, it can be extremely overwhelming for somebody to come into the Vivid Club membership and see everything that they've got to complete, and it can actually put them off doing anything. So I'm quite mindful of making sure that there's enough space, especially as it's a trauma-informed approach. I'm mindful of creating space and enough room for people to implement the things that they learn. There's no point in me chucking loads of content at people that they cannot absorb and implement. That's not what it's about. But I wanted to sort of go through the Warrior Boss framework on the podcast, because it may be that you have been listening to this podcast, thinking about working with me in some sort of way, and just really want to understand the Warrior Boss framework in a more in more detail. You just, you've seen it, you might have heard me talk about it a little bit, but actually the nitty-gritty of it. And it's very easy for you, you could take elements of these podcasts, because this is the next run of 4 from me, that you listen to them and you take so much value. You don't need to work with me. That's a fact. There might be some stuff in here that you really do think, I don't need to work with her because she's just giving me everything. But some of you might think, I like to work with her because she's just giving me something. So each to their own. So the purpose of the Warrior Boss framework is to move you from feeling more worried about your situation and being a warrior to feeling like a warrior, like really embodying a sense of warrior energy, a warrior mindset, warrior strength, and just accepting that though you may have scars, your mission in life and to have a great life is more important than the scars that you have, and you can get up again and keep going. And when I say keep going, I don't want this sort of toxic positivity where it's sort of like, keep going, don't give up. Maybe don't give up maybe on that idea or this idea, or like a career in education like I did. Well, I mean, this is my third or fourth career, so you know, I've given up quite a lot of times actually. But it's about recognizing that you don't want to give up on yourself, like giving up on your ability to be a better version of yourself. A warrior doesn't give up on being a better version of themselves. So that's what I want to sort of steer the direction of the conversation. And it all starts, well, there's four elements to the warrior boss framework. There is warrior energy, creating it. There is vision planning, vision strategy and planning, money making attitude, and consistency and productivity. And those four elements are split into more teaching, but those are the fundamentals. Like if you feel secure in those, you know, you've got your warrior energy, you know how to create it, you've got your vision, you've got a strategy, you can plan and make things happen, you have a money making attitude, and you've got the evidence to show yourself you can make money, as well as the tools and the habits to keep consistent and productive, then you've transformed yourself. It's about like knowing that you can get back up again. Whatever life throws at you, you can get back up again. And I'm telling you that, you know, there are some horrible things that happen to people. I'm not getting about and no one wants to go through them. No one wants to have horrible things happen to them and cause that pain. But inside of us, it's okay to know that you would be okay if it happened eventually, after decades probably, but you would. And straight away when I'm talking about that, there's certain situations come to mind. And, you know, I've been through some difficult times, and I'm sure there are more difficult times to come. But I feel equipped enough in my own sense of self that I won't give up on myself. I want to keep going. I want to keep going. And I'm sure that some of those that is it can be difficult for some people to hear. And I think part of the one of the things that I always do is I'm straight away have so many examples of people in my mind where it isn't easy to get back up again. It's basically, you know, I know people that have ended their lives, and I'm sure that you have as well. And it's so devastating. It's such a devastating thing to happen. But I'm conscious that I need to think when I'm approaching this, we can't always think of the worst case scenario in everything that we are approaching in our lives. We do have to be able to just manage a challenging morning. And I think that's where if you've got a challenging morning and you're like, oh, that was, oh, if you listen to last episode, an episode I was talking about not judging the situation, we're like, oh, that's a moment. Get back on with it. If you've got that ability to do that, then you are going to have more energy to run your business. And that's basically the whole point of this. So in swings and roundabouts, though life can be really shitty, sometimes the thing that's going to knock you off your day is the mundane challenge, or a lack of sales, or a lack of energy, or procrastination, or a period of depression that you, with the right tools, I believe, as long, you know, there are medical diagnoses as well that we need to take into consideration, but I believe that you can get back up again. So starts with warrior energy. Warrior energy is the fundamental, most important thing going. Like, I love warrior energy. I love what it means to me. I love creating it. And sometimes I resist creating it because in my mind, I'm like, oh, do I really need to write today? Well, I feel bloody better for it. Like, you know, it was really horrible weather today. I needed to walk. So I did. And it made me feel good. And I think I actually loved that walk today, even though it was shitty weather. But creating warrior energy is more than just feeling good. It's about helping you through vulnerability hangovers when you're feeling uncomfortable, helping you to protect new ideas, helping you to dream, actually having the energy to dream. When was the last time you just sat and went, oh, what do I dream? I was speaking about it in the Viva Club, and there was a few people that were like, I have no idea what my dreams are. I have no idea what I dream about anymore. I'm like, well, you better get started. Having warrior energy helps you to do that, gives you space for your mind to like spark. But getting yourself back up again, you need that warrior energy. You need that sort of space that it's about creating capacity. It's about filling your cup, creating capacity, and allowing your I mean, there were two metaphors and imagery that I like to use with warrior energy, and actually they're a little bit of an oxymoron, because when everyone says about filling your cup, you need to fill your cup, but actually that doesn't work with warrior energy. It's about emptying your cup, opening your capacity, and allowing there to be more room so you don't feel so overwhelmed. So with, like, for example, if I get up in the morning and I write and I listen to my warrior energy playlist and I manage to go for a walk, I have some meditation time. Though I'm such a novice with meditation, I've recently learned I'm supposed to meditate for 20 minutes. I was like, I've only been doing 5. So I need to find some extra. I don't know when I'm going to find time for that, but I think it'll probably be the best thing I've ever done. And put my lippy on and all of this. Like, I do it. It means that I've got like more space in my head for new ideas, energy. Like, my imposter syndrome, Clara, isn't as loud. Like, I think I've got more space to like text my friends back, or plan my meals, or, you know, what am I doing tomorrow in the business, being more disciplined. Like, today I've been planning and been doing podcast days for a while now, and I book the whole day out. I have all my interviews on the same day, and I sit and do all of my own podcast episodes. Now, because it's coming up to Christmas, I've had to record more than I normally would, and I knew it was going to be a tough day, because my resistance and my last minute Linda part of me would be like, nah, you'll have time to do that, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, I'm going to be really disciplined, because the feeling of being a prepared Paula, when I've got these episodes sorted, I've edited them and scheduled them, and I don't need to worry about the podcast until the 4th of January. That is a lovely thing. I am excited about that. So I'm going to go for that. But how much resistance I've felt, honestly, today, like having to really kick myself up the bum and be like, just record it. I've got it all planned out as well. But this is what my brain does to me anyway. I've spoken about that before. But if I've worked on my warrior energy, I can be more consistent. I can be more disciplined. I've got more space to be like, come on, Linda, come and be a Paula. And I've got that space to do that. If I don't work on my warrior energy, I'm straight on the scrolling. I go down the scroll hole. I'm procrastinating. I may start thinking about things that have no relevance to my day at all. Like, sometimes just thinking, like, Clara seeks out some bad like shit to focus on. That don't matter. Or comparisonitis, or that person's doing better than me. If I've got warrior energy, I stay in my lane. I just get on with it. And that's why it's so important. And one of my clients I was talking to, and she'd been feeling low. And I was like, what have you been doing for your warrior energy? Actually, two of my clients have done this. And straight away, every time, what have you been doing for your warrior energy? I've just not had time. Well, this is the impact. You sort of have to fall off the wagon with warrior energy for you to realize how impactful it is. And I know it's quite radical, because I'm asking you to spend that extra half an hour a day just to do things for you that make a difference to your well-being. I mean, it doesn't sound horrible to me, but it is just putting yourself first, isn't it? It's so alien to some of you, but I really believe that your energy is more important than anything else. Like, apart from basic needs of your children, like, literally, it is more important than anything else. Because if you don't have the energy to be your best self, you are not going to be as good a person or good for anybody else. Like, if you can't show up to be the best version of yourself for you, then you're not going to be the best version of yourself for everybody else. And that's where business really kicks in, and you can really see your potential when you're being your best self. And it's not easy. It's easier to sit and be in like moaning about life and saying everything else is everyone else's fault, or blaming anything. It's so much easier to do that. I know people that do that, but it's harder to go, do you know what? I actually feel like I can be a better version of myself. That's harder, but it feels better. It feels so much better to just take the time and go, do you know what? I'm going to invest in this warrior energy idea. Works for Claire. Maybe it works for me. And one of my clients was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to do. And I just said, very tough love, you don't work with me one-to-one to get your hand, I do hold your hand, but I do give a lot of tough love. I'm there. When I do one-to-one support, I'm not there to be liked. That's what I think. Like, I'm there to do a job and get your business to a point that you feel good about it, and for you to feel good about yourself. I'm not actually there to be liked. And I want the outcome is more important than anything else to me. Again, that's probably quite radical. But I just said, like, if you want to achieve all of these things, it's not going to work unless you've got warrior energy. It's just not. How can you expect to have, and this is the thing where, like, I wish I'd known about it when I was a teacher, but I would have been a bloody better teacher. But when you run a business, it's not the same as when you're employed. It can't be. You're there. You have to be your own leader. You have to be your own motivator. You have to be your own energy tank. You have to be your own, like, do as told her person. You have to do everything. So how can you expect to require the same amount of energy as if you are employed? It just doesn't make any sense. So if you need extra energy, where are you going to get it from? We'll create it. It's there somewhere. I'll tell you where it is, because energy is only transformed, isn't it? Transferred, sorry. It's not created, because all the energy that is on the planet was here from the beginning of the planet. No energy has gone anywhere else. It all remains here. It just transfers and transforms into other things. So if electricity can transform into light energy, why can't warrior energy, so when you're feeling anxious and scared about something, why can you not transform that into warrior energy and feel empowered? It's the same amount of energy. Like, if it was on a scale, they would be balanced. One of them posh scales that's like, well, posh, one of those old scales where you balance it out, like the Libra sign. You know what I'm talking about. If you've got your energy, they are exactly equally the same. They take up the same amount of room in your body and in your mind. That those warrior energy and warrior energy exactly the same, but the output is different. Like, I would rather be feeling driven and empowered and strong than weak and disempowered and lacking motivation. Obviously, everybody does, but it's the same amount of energy. It's literally the same. Like, if you feel really, really, like, if you're, say, for example, if you're really, really laughing, that's the same amount of energy as really, really crying. Your body does basically the same thing. Like, we even cry when we laugh, don't we? So it's like your body is doing exactly the same thing. It just feels different. So just swap it. And you can swap it by doing different things. For example, doing your warrior energy, recognizing, seeing the good, not judging the situation, feeling the feelings. That is part of warrior energy, by the way. You can feel like a warrior and feel sad, because feeling the feelings and not shying away from them and like trying to cover them up and numb them is actually, and you cover them up and numb them by feeling resistance, self-sabotage, procrastination. It's always like drinking drugs and stuff like that. But if you feel the feelings, you are embracing yourself, and that is being a warrior. That's good. You're just being authentic. Like, cover things up. Do you know what? Sometimes I get really sad about my business because I care so much. I want to do the right thing, and I want to do the right thing for me and my family. And if that means I have to be the best version of myself and get up 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier than everybody else, I'm going to bloody do it, because my mission is more important than that 15 minutes of sleep. Going to bed early so I can get up early. That means more to me than, hold on a minute. I lost my thread then. So I was thinking about going to bed early because I'm tired. But people say, like, We had our Vivid Christmas party last week, and I was talking to a member that came, and she was saying, like, I am a grafter. There's no going about this, I'm a grafter. And some people would think that I probably work too hard. And one of my beautiful friends said, you don't want to work too hard. I don't work too hard. I'm very good at recognizing when I need to rest, and I rest. And I make sure my weekends, I'm free at the weekends, apart from like Christmas at the moment. Like I do have to work a little bit. It's the Christmas rush. But I'm having like literally like 3.5 weeks off at Christmas. And I am closing the door in this office, and I am reading books and tidying cupboards and going to the park with Jackson and making weird craft things with him and painting with him and doing, like making him dens and going for a drink with my friends and chatting on the phone with my sister and all of these things. I'm just going to do it because I've got all this time off because of graft, and I can afford to have 3.5 weeks off. I don't need to worry. That's what I need to do. But I don't work too hard. I work because it feels really, really, really good. I'm a grafter. My son sees me all the time. I don't work with, instead of seeing him. So it's good. I just show up and do it, get it done. But people think that you don't need to put the hard work in. It's not about there's so much of this culture of like going, oh, you don't want to work too hard, hustle, look after yourself. I do look after myself, but what do I expect? Like I want a business that's worth something. I want to help as many people as possible. So I need to do that. I need to do the hard work. And the reason I can do it is because I work on my warrior energy. There is no way I would be able to do it otherwise. So I got a bit passionate then. Do you know what? My head started pounding with this cold. I must have increased my blood pressure talking about it. This is what I think it frustrates me when people don't think that, if you want a business that brings in the money that you want, that there's that element of saying, I've got to sacrifice. I've got to sacrifice watching TV. I've got to sacrifice a clean kitchen or whatever you need. You got to sacrifice certain things for the bigger picture and the bigger mission. And a warrior does that. A warrior makes sacrifices. Oh, that sounded all, whenever I think of warrior, it's always like some ancient Japanese warrior hero. Anyway, I think I've made my point. I'm going to share lots more information about warrior energy. There is so much information on Instagram and my website about warrior energy. If you want a free warrior energy toolkit, send me a message. I'll send it over to you. But it's just very, very important to me. So the other 3 parts of the framework, which will be the next episode from me, is vision, strategy, and planning. I love talking about that. So I will talk about that. And I hope you have a wonderful. I'm just need to check see when this episode is going up. I hope you have a lovely Christmas. If I've planned this right, which I have, it's the 22nd of December. So if you're listening to it today, have a wonderful Christmas, and I hope you have an amazing time, and I hope you get some time off, and just have a restful one. And it feels like this is the first proper Christmas in ages. So enjoy it. And if you liked this episode, please let me know. Share and subscribe. And if you've got time, a review would be amazing. All right. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. Written, produced and hosted by Claire Hill, and music has been composed by my brother, Phil Victor.